Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and it's time to catch up with our friends in Memphis at Memphis 901 FC. The sporting director, Andrew Bell, friend of the show, and Tim Mulqueen, head coach of the club, are now with us. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us and doing a 1v1.
Thanks very much for having us. Looking forward to talking to everybody, and it's great to be on.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so Andrew, last time we talked to you was around a particular date in March when you assumed the title. What has it been like over the last, say, 7.5 months or so being there?
Very good. So I've been obviously very busy. We, when I arrived here, it was just me on my own, but we've built out a very, very good front office staff. So there's 10 or 11 of us now working very hard to make sure that the club is successful from day one. And then, of course, on the other side of it, on the technical side, I was very busy, as we talked about at the time, doing a proper search, finding the right candidates to talk to for the head coach position. And we hired Tim Mulqueen a couple of months ago. Since then, it's been actually, this is the most exciting part. So we pivoted and really we work every day on doing our due diligence on trying to identify and sign players for the team.
So, Coach, how do you view yourself as a builder? Because coaches have different personalities, and this is one of those very unique opportunities to build something from the ground up. Have you always viewed yourself as a builder when it comes to your own personality?
You know what? That's a great question, and I do. I think of myself as a builder. I cut my teeth in coaching as a young assistant at Rutgers, building that program with Bob Riasso, and then, getting into the MLS in year one and help building that franchise in New York and moving on to Kansas City, and then, dealing with the youth national teams. I've always been a guy who's worked with, from the ground up. So this is a natural fit for me to start something from scratch in my own vision with Andrew and Tim and Craig and Peter and the staff. So it really is a building opportunity that is so exciting that, I don't think there's any coach who would pass on this opportunity.
So, Andrew, when you look at the footprint that 901 has, you're talking about West Tennessee, you're talking about Arkansas, you're talking about portions of Mississippi, you're talking probably portions of Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky. It's a very unique place where I think on a lot of different fronts, it's probably an untapped market to draw eyes to a singular product. What's that challenge been like?
I mean, for me, a lot of it has been going out and, and actually identifying the places that you're talking about and saying, yeah, absolutely, our fans live here. When we hosted the game in September, we had people driving in from all over the region. And that's going to happen when 901 FC starts playing next March. So even somewhere like Little Rock, we're going to have soccer fans driving in occasionally to watch the games. You look at some of the successful sports teams in Memphis. The obvious one is the Grizzlies or the Redbirds, right here in the building. And those guys draw from all over the region. So we're going to do that too. And, what we have to offer, of course, is something slightly different, which is soccer, which is the sport that we all love. You look at the people playing the game, and definitely we're going to be a regional club. We have to live up to that, and we have to do the things from a club standpoint that validate that, which, from a marketing and a sales standpoint, we have to be thinking more than just, looking at folks coming in, from right on our doorstep.
So, Coach, what's it been like for you to see this rather large footprint that can be taken advantage of both from a talent perspective and from a fan perspective?
It's been great. Everybody's been very welcoming, very excited for the club. We've had numerous people reach out to us about wanting to be a part of it, numerous players, that is, wanting to be a part of it. As Andrew said, we spend our day now doing our due diligence and watching players play and researching and looking for players, that will help us build a championship team. We signed one already from the area, Raul Gonzalez, who played at the University of Memphis. So he's been with Richmond in the league, and now he'll be joining us. So We reached out and got Josh Morton out of Tulsa. So we are expanding our scouting nationwide, but we are taking a look at our own backyard because there are a lot of talented players here.
And I think, John, to your point, it's interesting for us because it's not just Memphis players. So, I mean, I said when I moved here that we're going to have some local boys playing for our club. It's something that Tim believes in as well. But, because there is that regional footprint, it expands our reach a little bit. So, you look at somewhere like a Jackson, Mississippi, they've got a fantastic recent track record of bringing young players through. There's 2 or 3 playing in Major League Soccer right now. So, for us, it's an extra challenge, but it's also been interesting getting to know some of the people working in the youth side of it in these outlying areas.
And you got 3 more that have just been recently inked. You're now up to 6. And I know that you're looking, Andrew, for a specific kind of player, not just on the pitch, but to share the vision of 901 FC in the community. When you look at the guys that you've signed, I know that there's a certain, for lack of a phrase, a certain je ne sais quoi that they have to have. But what's it been like to bring in these guys to be a part of that first ever group?
I mean, every player conversation that we've had has started with what I think is that there's an opportunity for the guys that come in, the first group of players, to really stamp their authority on the city. If you talk to Memphis, what I would call old-time Memphis soccer people here, there's a tremendous respect and admiration, and there's a fondness for the old Memphis Rogues. Tim and I have gone out of our way, not out of our way, but we've enjoyed actually meeting some of the guys that have stuck around from the old Rogues days. And, they're revered in the soccer community because of what they gave to the city. So, for our guys that come in now, there's a chance to do that again. And hopefully some of these, maybe one of these 6 that we've announced ends up living here for another 25 years and being part of the community. So, from my standpoint, it's important that the guys recognize what they have to do front facing from the club standpoint to get into the community in Memphis. But they also have to embrace the playing philosophy that Tim brings. So, there's a double conversation there, if that makes sense.
So then, as Andrew is reading my notes, Coach, when it comes to things stylistically, when folks are going to be looking at a Tim Mulqueen coached side, what are they going to see?
They're going to see an aggressive side. I'm a Northeast guy by birth and by nature and by life, and I believe in taking the game to the opponent. We're going to play in the opponent's half. We're going to press. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to value the ball, though. We're not going to just play for territory so we can press, but we will value the ball. We'll be exciting. We'll be aggressive and tenacious. And hopefully, playing that style will create a lot of chances, and then we'll be able to put some in. So they'll see a very exciting, very aggressive, very energetic football playing team.
Andrew Bell, sporting director, Tim Mulqueen, head coach, Memphis 901 FC, hanging out with us here on a Soccer Down Here 1v1, and we get to catch up with folks and see how things are being built from the ground up. So, Andrew, I know that going into the community and embracing the Rogues history and being in the footprint and all of these things, it's part and parcel to what businesses are these days, is that there's the entertainment aspect, there's the winning aspect, chasing trophies, all of these different things that you have to chase these days. What's it like to have to juggle all of these different elements and then come out of the blocks being what you want to be as a team?
I mean, it's interesting. Let's say, I mean, you have to keep an eye on all of the things that you mentioned. But for me, and I said this to the owner when I had the first conversation with him, number one has to be that we build a soccer club that is sustainable, right? I was fortunate to work for a team for 19 years that's celebrating their 27th year next year. There's no reason why Memphis 901 FC can't find that similar model and be here for another 25 or 50 years. But that means that myself, that Tim Howard, that Craig Peter all have to embrace the philosophy of doing things the right way. Obviously, we get out there and we're going to be part of the community. We're going to bring value to our fans and to our sponsors. But we're also going to be respectful of the business side of it, and work within the budgets that we think are reasonable that we set, and be very strict about it. And to be honest, from my standpoint, I enjoy going out and meeting people. So it's something that I've always liked doing. And, I'm fortunate now to be here in Memphis and have the opportunity to do that again, whether it's meeting fans, meeting sponsors, or even, the staff, we all went to the Memphis Grizzlies game the other day and had a great time. You could argue that that's not even work, but it's fun as well, if that makes sense. So, we just have to keep an open mind and, do everything we can to be successful.
Coach, let me go back to September 1st.
Okay.
And I want to take this next question in two parts. The build-up for the reveal for the crest and the name and all of that, and then Colorado and Tulsa going at it at your future home and having the number one supporter. I guess that's what is on Tim Howard's business card these days. But to see the community come out and embrace and then have a name that they can attach to, what was that day like from your perspective?
For me, it was fantastic. It gave me goosebumps. I mean, to see what the city would look like on game day, and imagine it being our own team. In March when we open up, I lived the whole day as if that was what was happening. The launching of our brand and then the crest, and how, Memphis centric it was and how people loved it because it captured everything that's good about Memphis, in that crest. And then to see a game played with the enthusiasm of the fans, the enthusiasm of the players. I remember walking on the pitch before the game, dropping off the game balls. And I'm saying to myself, wow, in 9 months, we'll be playing this game here. Like, this will be us. And it was exciting. I will say a bit nerve-wracking because there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. But it was just a fantastic demonstration of what Memphis is going to be as a soccer city, and the support that we got, and the level of the game was fantastic. It was just a win in all areas. So for me, it was a great way on a strictly tactical side to see how the field played, to see if pressing on that field would work, to see how wide you could get, to see what type of tactics were effective. And doing all that without having to worry about winning or losing a game was a tremendous advantage from it.
Okay, so now, Andrew, when you look at the next couple of markers that 901 FC has, you're talking about a league, being a part of a league that is expanding, going into new markets, and you're looking at a New Mexico, you're looking at a Memphis, you're looking at a Hartford, you're looking at an Austin, and I think that you, having seen it from the Charleston perspective before you ended up in Memphis, I think it has a unique look for you. What's it like to be a part of the growth of a league in addition to still being a part of the league that you've had a great deal of impact in?
I mean, I'm very happy for USL and to see the growth of the league, because I was there when, when we contracted, frankly. I think there was a year we played with 6 teams. So to have gone from that, lived through that, where you're worried about your job, you're worried about the players, you're worried about your staff, to a point now where I think we're adding 7 teams in 2019, and to see the way that the folks at USL have guided that, I mean, it's great to be a part of it. USL is a sophisticated league. The management down there have done a very, very good job of guiding the growth. I think the challenge is actually is growing sustainably and kind of harnessing that in the right way. From a technical side, I'm friends with a couple of the guys that are coaching in the new franchises. So I know Troy very well. I know Jimmy. I've talked to both of them many times over the last, since they were announced. And we're definitely not we don't have all the answers. So we're looking at what other teams are doing. And obviously we looked at what Atlanta did a few years back. And we're trying to take some of the things that work really well there and apply them here in Memphis. But I mean, overall, honestly, it's an exciting time for soccer in the United States and Canada. And, there's definitely an energy about the club here in Memphis that reflects that.
So then, Coach, you get the last question here.
Yeah.
When it comes to the 2019 season, does it seem far away, or does it seem just around the corner and you're going to have to be on the hop to get everything that you're looking to do in place? So what is the speed on the turntable like for you? Is it 33 1/3 or is it 78?
Well, it was 33 1/3 till someone told me the other day that we're 90 days away from preseason, and we have 6 guys signed. So now we're at 78 plus. So it hit me pretty quick that, we got the holidays. Right after the holidays, boom, we're right there. So it's definitely picked up. There's no question. There's an urgency to everything. But our Andrew and I, and we like to go about this in a very methodical, thoughtful, planned way as far as, our process of identifying players and signing players. So that won't change. We just need to make sure that we get everything buttoned up by February 1st, and I'm sure we will. And just to say that we're that close, gets the palm of my hand a little sweaty, but we're excited for it, and I can't wait to get going.
Well, Andrew, Coach, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for being a part of a 1v1 here at Soccer Down Here, and you know that we'll be banging on your door a lot to kind of keep everybody in the loop as to what's going on. Looking forward to catching up with you. Looking forward to seeing Memphis 901 FC out on the pitch, and we'll be keeping an eye on things. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, our pleasure. Thank you, guys. Thank you, John.